corner. Very nasty and tricky approach there. The GT2 category actually led all through the night and into the morning by the Justin Bell, David Donoghue, Luca Drudi factory ride for Viper, run by the French Heroically team. And out front, that big lead for Toyota. Porsche in second and third place, the two cars running just about a lap apart. The 26 car going strongly. This man catches up with the latest news. Of course, huge worldwide interest in the Le Mans 24 Hours. Here, four of the top cars running together, the two Porsches and the two Toyotas. Still was the concern, a big concern in the Toyota pits. Is he praying about it? He's putting his hands together anyway. Certainly Toyota had a gearbox which perhaps was going to let them down. And let's just not forget that 5 years ago, even with 2 hours to go, Toyota led this race and had gear selection problems. Would history repeat itself? Well, the race now, they're still praying there in the Toyota pits. The race now in its final third. Certainly this was turning out to be another classic Le Mans. 24-hour racing, you think, might be won by many, many laps, but in recent years it's tended to be very close indeed. Through the day and the night, as the clock ticks on, things seem to even themselves out. All that travel staining down the side, coming mainly from the carbon brake dust. Toyota in the lead by 1 minute 20. Porsche clawing back at that lead. Then the second Porsche, Nissan, and you see that McLaren we mentioned a few minutes ago, running very strongly in 6th place, spending very little time in the pits. The flags wave, Nissan having their own particular band of supporters. The number 30 car returning to the fray. Frank Lagorce, the talented Frenchman at the wheel. He shares the car with John Nielsen and Michael Crum. But perhaps Toyota had just underestimated the pace of their rivals at Toyota. Porsche were able to answer. They were running strongly. So strongly that they were really closing up on the lead Toyota. Just look at the gap there now, 12 seconds. Over 20 hours of racing and the gap at the front. 12 seconds, nothing at all. The 1998 Le Mans looked as if it would go right the way to the 2 o'clock finish. But what's this, a Toyota in trouble? Limping in with a puncture on the tyre. That departs company with a wheel. More dramas out on the circuit for this Porsche. A spin from 65. Shirl, Allen and Wollek, they'd had a torrid time. The first incident from that particular car, the Rook team car. But the 29 machine continuing to lead. Bousten Toyota and Jeff Lees. Could they taste victory? Well, it's always very dangerous at Le Mans. The Nissans continue to run very reliably indeed, but just a tiny bit off the true pace at the front. '32 car goes down the Mulsanne Straight again, and well, you can see the worry in the Toyota pits. There's Olivier Griard at the wheel of that Courage, still going strongly, but in fact it's resignation on their faces. There's a retirement, the 72 Gustave Chiro Hiver car, but the big news was the retirement of the 29 car. It had stopped out on the circuit. It already had 2 new gearbox clusters, and finally the gearbox, the transmission, had broken, and Porsche, who so often go all the way at Le Mans, were there, lying in first and second places. The 26 car 1 lap in front of the 25 car, and the race had come to Porsche. But certainly Toyota could be proud. Their first ever time with the new team at Le Mans. The car had led the race with less than 2 hours to go. It looked as if they were going to win it. They were denied. Just consider the devastation in the pits. There you see, well, and that's one of the engineers. The lady there is one of the senior engineers with the team. De Courtins puts a hand on her shoulder. Oh, just look at that man's face. It said it all. Toyota, a valiant effort. They'll be back, and next year they could be the team to beat. In the sports prototype class, this Ferrari way down the field, but leading the category by a long way. Wayne Taylor, Eric van der Poel at the wheel, and Fermin Velez, the little Spanish driver. They've done a strong job after the early problems. The 53 Viper was well in the lead of GT2, as it had been for the last 12 hours. Justin Bell had done a particularly good job. And of course, David Donohue, the son of the late Mark Donohue, one of America's greatest ever drivers. So two sons of famous fathers. The Nissan still circulating nose to tail. There you see the Courage. Nissan running reliably, but not quite fast enough. Indeed, almost running side by side there. The 30 car, driven by Nielsen, Lagos and Crum. When in fact the 32 car, Hoshino, Aguri Suzuki and Masahiko Kageyama, they'd had a good run and were the best of the Nissans. We go on board there briefly with Aguri Suzuki, yet another ex-Grand Prix driver in this race. So just a few laps to reel off, and then the accolades of victory. And of course, it's never won until that flag drops. Oh, and look at that! Just in the final hour, the Portuguese team Estoril Porsche. The turbocharger exploding there as it went through our camera picture. What a disappointment for them, laying those flames as well. The two brothers Montero, together with the French driver Michel Maisonneuve.